Hello everyone, and welcome to the Mortgage Penalty or Fee Refund Calculator webinar. Thank you all for joining and taking the time to listen to this webinar. I'll just go over the slide deck, and as I go through it, I'll kind of flip back and forth between that and the actual calculator, as well as the procedure. If anyone can't hear us, which maybe just get a thumbs up if you can hear us. Just want to make sure you can hear us clearly. If someone could just type in a comment there into the chat box, then we'll just check if you can hear us, please. We hear you. Awesome. Thank you very much, Stacey, Sabine, and Nick. Okay, so yeah, we'll go through the slide deck here. So the reason this calculator was created was due to the fact that transferring in a member's mortgage may result in fees, and those include legal, appraisal, and payout penalty fees. These fees may hinder a member from transferring their mortgage to us, though, but I know we run into situations where another FI is offering an incentive for a member to transfer their mortgage and they're willing to pay all of the transfer fees. So this calculator will hopefully solve that problem. So members may request transfer fees to be paid in an effort to obtain their business. Competitors offer such options and incentives to attract new business. As interest rates rise, financial institutions will continue to offer incentives to attract new business. Incentives need to be in place to attract full-service members, which is what the purpose of this calculator is. So, solution: when a member requests a new mortgage for the purpose of paying out a mortgage at another financial institution or transferring in a high-ratio mortgage, they may incur a penalty or fees. Penalty applies for breaking their current mortgage, and fees for their new mortgage, such as First Canadian Title, potential solicitor, or appraisal fees. FSRs must have a tool to determine the potential reward for making the switch simpler. So we'll go over one sample here of the calculator. I'm actually going to switch over to the calculator so you can watch me enter it in action. So this is the actual calculator. It will be saved on the intranet, so you will be able to access it. I'll go over where it will be located towards the end of the webinar. So basically, this is a calculator. You would only need to enter all of the pink, salmon, whatever color that is, fields. So start with the mortgage amount, so $250,000 in this situation. This member is taking a 5-year term, so the minimum term is 3 years, you'll note. Mortgage amortization is 25 years. The penalty that the other financial institution will be charging is $2,000. First Canadian Title fees, let's say $600, and appraisal is $325. The interest rate on this particular mortgage is 3.50%. So then what the calculator does is it subtracts the cost of funds. So cost of funds is something that updates monthly. So that is the actual cost Westoba is paying to basically fund all of our deposits. That's important to take into account when we take a look at the actual margin on this mortgage. So this mortgage, for example, has a margin of 2.07% after we subtract cost of funds. If a member takes GMP with us, we would enter that. So just making up some numbers here. So you'd enter the monthly amount in the monthly field. And one more, 30. So this member took all of the GMP that is offered. And then at the bottom here, you are going to see a calculation. So it'll tell us proceed with refunding the penalty. In this situation, we would not refund the penalty of $2,000, but we would refund the fees. So there's $600 and there's also $325. So those fees would be refunded to the member in an effort to obtain their business. Yeah, so that's the first sample I wanted to show you. We'll maybe do another sample here just so you can see a different situation. So this one's going to be 450,000, 5 years, 25, bi-weekly again. We'll leave that all the same. So again, it's important to enter all of the fields accurately in the pink cells so that the calculator can provide you with an accurate answer. None of the other fields you can edit, so as you'll see, you'll get a message there saying you can't edit them. Only the pink ones can be touched. So same penalty, $600, $325 appraisal fee. It totals in there. We're going to leave the interest rate the same, but it can change obviously, so adjust that accordingly to calculate the margin. Enter the GMP, we'll leave that the same as well. In this situation, you'll see that we will be refunding the penalty as well as the fees that apply to this member's mortgage transfer. So what the calculator is basically doing is it's calculating a break even for paying the penalty. So how long is it going to take us to break even for incurring these fees? At the moment, it's set at 3 months. So that's what the 0.25 is. 0.25 is 3 months. So within 3 months, we basically would break even. After that, the mortgage becomes profitable. So that's noted there for you as well. As the market changes, this may be adjusted. So at the moment, it's 3 months. So here are 2 examples. We'll go back to the presentation here. So you might ask what criteria should be used when approving a refund. So the fixed rate mortgage must be of a term of 3 years or more, no less. Will the member be a full service Westoba member? That's important because we are refunding fees. We don't necessarily want to do this for every member. This is something that's encouraged to be used for the loyal members. Those members have all of their business with us because we are incurring a cost. So it has to make business sense. You want to consider what Westoba products and services or other revenue the member generates. So other revenue examples may include credential holdings, so that's with financial planning, GMP, which calculates in that, single premium, so maybe they have a loan with us and there's single premium insurance on that, or other lending. Also payroll deposit, I think, is one of the most important things because that shows that they do their business with us. How long have they been a member should be considered, so you might not want to offer it to someone who has only been a member with us for a couple months and they have no business with us. Family or business connection to Westoba, that's always important. Future potential of the member, that's important as well. So maybe you have a young professional who just graduated and there's tons of opportunity to grow the business with this person. That can be noted as well. So lastly, if the calculator says yes, you as an FSR may confirm the fee refund with the member. Note that this only approves the fee refund, so you can let the member know, hey, we can pick up those fees for you to make the switch worthwhile for you. That does not include the mortgage approval, of course. If you have limits and you can approve the mortgage, then you can do both, but if not, then you obviously need to send it to your branch team leader or adjudication department. Another thing that is very important, so the calculator may say no, but no doesn't always mean no. Our members value the relationship they hold with their FSR, and the primary goal of the FSR is to maintain these relationships. Our duty is to go above and beyond for these members. If the calculator indicates no, and an FSR believes a strong business case exists, the FSR may escalate the request to obtain approval from the branch team leader or credit adjudication. Approval of exceptions is based on lending authority limits of adjudication and the branch team leader. So depending on the size of the mortgage, that would determine whether or not adjudication needs to approve it or your branch team leader needs to approve it. So to assist, the calculator will determine a potential refund that could be credited to the member. This amount must be approved based on lending limits and requires the FSR to provide reasoning, which must be approved and documented. So we'll go over a situation like that, just to show you what that would look like. So that's kind of a screenshot of it, but we'll do it together. So this member has a mortgage for $150,000. a 5-year term, 25-year amortization. Fill it all in here. We're just going to leave it all the same, fairly similar. GMP, leave it the same as well. So you'll see here that it says proceed with refunding penalty. Answer is no in this situation, likely because it is a smaller mortgage. Proceed with refunding the fees. In this situation, we also wouldn't refund any of the fees. However, we can request approval for a partial refund, and it actually calculates for you what that partial refund might be. So in this situation, if you really do feel that there is a strong business case and you want to request an approval to pay a portion of the fees or refund a portion of the fees, you will request the approval from your branch team leader or credit adjudication. We'll go back to the presentation here. So you might ask what is required in your member's loan file. You must document the decision and reasoning in your notes in ProLender. So provide all the details on why you decided to provide this type of refund. Again, it's important to note whether or not it's a full service member, how much other revenue there is with us. So as much notes as possible. A copy of the completed mortgage refund calculator is required in your file. Proof of any partial or full fee refunds. So we do require proof of the refunds. So for example, an appraiser invoice, lawyer invoice, or the First Canadian Title invoice that you would receive from CLA. Note that only documented fees are eligible. Members cannot receive a refund in excess of actual fees paid. Approval signed by FSR if approved by the FSR, only when yes. Signed approval by adjudication team member or branch team lead when requesting a refund exception. So I understand that sometimes it might not be possible to have your branch team leader sign a physical copy. I mean, you could scan it to them and get them to sign it. Another option might be to screenshot it into your email, cut it out nicely so you can see the full body of it, and send it in an email. That way your branch team leader can see exactly, or adjudication can see exactly what is being approved. Then you want to put a copy of that in your file. Alternatively, get them to sign or scan them over a copy and have them sign off on it. So who will pay fees? The member will initially pay the fees, but they will be credited back amounts paid as approved. So maybe there is First Canadian Title fees of $600 and there's an appraisal fee of $325. The member will need to pay those fees up front. However, they will be refunded, so it's an incentive. They'll go into their checking account or wherever you'd like to have it deposited, and basically you would put it in that account and they can use it however they want it. I shouldn't say you would put it in because this is completed by CLA, the actual refund. So upon receiving a signed copy or this approval, the email approval that contains it in the body of the email, a copy of the refund calculator along with your dispersal documents, CLA department will credit the member's incentive once the mortgage is funded. So once the mortgage is funded, that's when the fees will be credited back into the account. Penalty fees if approved will also be credited back into the member's account once the mortgage is funded, and that is keyed by CLA again. Fee payment if approved will be credited back into the member's account once the mortgage is funded. That's keyed by CLA once again. Documentation or invoices must be provided to support claims. So along with your mortgage penalty refund calculator, provide CLA with copies of any invoices for the appraisal, maybe the First Canadian Title invoice, or if there's a solicitor or lawyer's invoice, add that to that so that they can confirm that it's legitimate fees that we're refunding. Or in the case of a penalty, include a payout statement. Where do I find the procedure and calculator? So both can be found on the Westoba intranet. The procedure will be located under procedural manuals, Westoba, lending, consumer lending, products, consumer mortgages, and then you'll see it determine a consumer mortgage penalty or fee refund. The calculator will be located at this location, and we're also going to add it to the lending support tools. I mean, when I used to look for these types of calculators in the branch, I would go to the lending support tool. So it'll be located in both of these spots. Procedure does reference the form section, so both of these sections will contain the actual calculator. Important notes, and this is very important, do not save the calculator. So you can open the calculator, you can work from it from the internet, but don't save it. The reason for that is because cost of funds changes regularly. Therefore, you must obtain the calculator from the internet. That will contain the most recent cost of funds. So that's very important. Don't save the calculator on your desktop. Don't save it in any documents. Go to the internet when you reference it. Second thing is review the procedure, which we can quickly go over here. So this is the procedure. As I mentioned, it is saved on the internet. So basically it goes over the purpose of this calculator, and then it goes over the procedure and the steps you need to take. So it's very detailed. Big thank you to Tanis Kirkwood for all of her patience in getting this perfected. So goes over confirming the new mortgage and terms, so what you need to do, locating the actual calculator, entering the information in the appropriate cell, so it identifies which cells you need to enter that into the calculator, and then determining the penalty, refund, or fee charge. So it goes over, if you get a yes, this is what you do, and then no or zero, along with the exception. So if you were wanting to request an exception, noted that you need to make a good business case if you are requesting an exception. Proceed with requesting approval for a partial refund. If it shows a dollar amount, it tells you what you need to do in that case. So then you would add a comment detailing the penalty or fee refund in the loan system, so into ProLender at the moment. Print the mortgage penalty refund calculator, file the form and payout statement in the member's mortgage file, and then centralized loans administration refunds the penalty and fees as appropriate. That is all. So that's the gist of it. We hope that this will be a useful calculator to obtain more business. I know it can be difficult having those conversations when you don't know whether or not we can refund fees. This tool will give you that ability. So I will open the lines for any questions. So please do ask. And if you think of any questions after this webinar, share them with your branch team leader, ask them to forward them on to me, and I will make sure they get an answer. Also, I just wanted to say big thank you to both Todd, Leanne, and Tanis. They've been extremely helpful, as well as Jim. He's not on the line, but he should get a thank you as well for encouraging this to be used. So it's been piloted in Brandon and Winnipeg over the past couple of months, so perhaps some Brandon and Winnipeg people can provide some feedback on them using it. I do recommend continuing to share feedback. We want to make sure this tool works for you. So, but yeah, let's take any feedback that you have right now, good, bad, or even questions. Hello.
Tracy here.
Hey, Tracy.
Yeah, I figured out short the ST and the.
Oh, that's awesome.
I did get Patrick to sign it, but I didn't realize that I could have just. Okay.
Yes, you can do it yourself. So Jim has made that clear that he wants to empower you FSRs as well, so that you can make these decisions. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad it worked well. So have you refunded it and everything too, or is it still in the works?
I had sent it in CLA, so I
awesome.
did check the members' account.
Yeah.
One thing that you said about putting in the comments, I forget what slides back. Putting up your comments in ProLender, I don't remember if I did that. But if I did forget, can we do gap analysis and fill all that in maybe right now?
Yeah, I would do that and attach it to your calculator, because you're gonna have your calculator in your file as well. So make your notes in there, because you want to make sure that you documented exactly why you decided to do this. Because this is
I just put it in. I don't remember.
Yeah, take a look at it, and if you haven't, I would just add the note after the fact. I know you can't enter it into ProLender once it's committed, so yeah, I think that's a good idea.
No, that's good.
Thanks for sharing, by the way. I'm glad it worked well for you.
Yes, and I'm glad that we're doing this, because I think we've lost quite a bit of business because we couldn't do this.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tracy. I know being in Winnipeg, there's always offerings that the other credit unions and FIs offer to entice new business to come over. So hopefully this will help us build more full-service relationships with our members.
not really related to this form. Doing for existing members if they're buying and selling and saving plus $50,000. I've had people walk because of that.
I think that question should.
Different.
Yeah. I think that question should probably go to Patty, and then she can get you some answers for that. This only applies. Also, I should mention, kind of brought that up for me. This only applies to new mortgages at the moment, so it does not apply to people refinancing. So in that case, if you were refinancing, you probably want to review the penalty. I know there's a recent procedure about penalties and when you can, what you need to do in which situation. So I would use that procedure.
Just for selling, like if whenever they're selling a line to buy any property.
Yeah. So they're selling and they're looking to buy a brand new property, and they basically sold the property and they've paid off the mortgage, and they're now looking to take on a new mortgage. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, with like still with that
Okay.
previous mortgage with us. It was performance plus, but they didn't keep the thousand entire 5 years and end up paying a penalty. And then they're mad, of course, so they left.
Yeah, okay, I understand now what you're saying. Let me take that as a takeaway, and I'll get back to you, Tracy, on that.
Sure.
Thank you for clarifying. I totally understand what you're saying now.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
James, just with that comment, instead of getting back to
For sure.
perfect. I have a question for Branch here.
Hey, Kirsten.
With regards to the penalties that we're able to return, obviously that's what are they doing the mortgage including the penalty, and then they just get the money in their account, or will we do it so like say if it's due the mortgage, like the $5,000 penalty would we be doing the mortgage for $255 and then just returning the $5,000 into their account, or would we do the mortgage for $250 and then the penalty would then be deposited instead?
I think the member typically probably doesn't have the money to pay the penalty, so add it to the mortgage. And in those situations, you need to add it to the mortgage in order to pay out the full amount owing, right? So I think it depends on the situation. If the member does want to have a higher mortgage in the end, then they're gonna, if loan to value is there, then you can include it in there and process it and refund it to the member afterwards, and then they can either apply it back onto the mortgage or whatever they might want to do. So as long as you document all of that and your reasoning for it, then I don't see any problem with doing that. Does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Actually, my question kind of went along with that as well. So if it's a high ratio mortgage that we're transferring over, including penalty and the CHC, then we're fees that were previously charged and added to the mortgage, so over 100%. Where in the calculator that we put in appraised value, so is that an issue?
Well, I think if it's a high ratio mortgage, then the loan to value probably wouldn't support it, right? So you can't add to a high ratio mortgage fees. When we transfer a high ratio mortgage, you want to transfer the exact balance over. So, I mean, the member still needs to pay it up front, and then we're going to refund it. So if in that situation, I would say if the member's able to pay it, or if you want to do a line of credit or whatever you want to, if you want to be creative about it, and then it can be refunded, but we can't transfer any amount in excess of the loan to value, right? So does that help?
Yes, but once the CMHC fee is added onto a mortgage balance at another FI or here, the value essentially is over, say, 95%.
Mm-hmm. So I would talk to CLA, adjudication about that specific request. Do you have a request like that right now, or?
I'm just listening to the presentation.
Yeah.
Any scenarios, yeah.
Yeah. I would refer that over to adjudication, because if it is in excess of the loan to value, then that's a whole different story, right? So Yeah. John is here too, and he might have some input for you as well.
That's a good question, but I think you have to think about the situation. The loan to value is going to be highest when it's first advanced if you're over FI. So you're absolutely right. It's typically over 95% if you're willing to put 5% down. But if they're 2 or 3 or 4 years into their mortgage and they're wanting to transfer it over to you, that could be different as well, right? Where they're down below the 95%. That's right at the beginning of the advance, whether they're that high, right? Correct?
Yeah, no, correct. I'm just thinking like in the first 5 years, if they were their current FI and wanted to come to the
Yeah, I think James is right. It's a case by case basis. I think you have to look at it. In those situations, you have to actually transfer those loans. You can't take them out and do it over here, right? So that's another piece of the puzzle that has to be figured out.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood then in the presentation. It was like both transferring in high ratio or I was kind of going on.
Yeah, so high ratio mortgages are eligible for the fee refund. However, you might want to be creative and you might want to talk to adjudication depending on the situation as well. I don't want to speak for them, so I think some of them might be on the line, so I don't want to steal their thunder. Any other questions, concerns, feedback?
James?
Yeah.
So if the member doesn't have the money to pay,
Mm-hmm.
can we do bridge finance?
I wouldn't say so. You probably, I mean, if the member truly doesn't have the funds to pay it, I would suggest doing a loan request and or a line of credit or something of that sort. Yeah. At the moment, the way the calculator is, it's going to take a big mortgage to refund the fee. For the most part, you probably won't see a lot of penalty refunds, just because of the 3 months that's calculated in there. So if you have a very large penalty, it's going to take a very large mortgage to refund that as well. Like we can enter a scenario if you want to play a little bit. So let's say 500,000, and the penalty is 5,000. In that situation, it would not refund the penalty to the member. So let's just increase it. Oops. 600 wouldn't as well. So yeah, see, it's going to take a pretty large mortgage in order to pay a large penalty out. I would recommend setting, hey, it's an opportunity to offer another product like a line of credit or that they can use going forward, cross-sell another product, and that's where the penalty can come from. Or it's probably going to come from the payout. We might be paying it out to the other institution, right? So, and including the penalty funds. Any other questions? And does that help answer your question?
And Stacy, I kind of have a question.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around why would we go to the work of doing a short-term line of credit or something like that to cover this until whatever? Because are we not paying out and disbursing? Why would CLA not just cover it straight off the hop, adding it or it's all part of one transaction?
Yeah, the problem is the administration relating to that. I mean, it's good feedback, and I will take it as feedback, and I can talk to Jim as well as finance and so on. But when we did the Performance Plus mortgages, there was quite a bit of administration that needed to be done in the background in order to administer those mortgages. Several law firms had to be paid, several appraisers had to be paid. This is the simplest way to set it up, is for us to fund the mortgage and then for us to refund the mortgage, refund the fees to the member. I mean, you could add it to the mortgage as well, right? So you could do the payout based on the total, and then you could apply the penalty back onto the mortgage once it's funded. So you can apply that back right to the mortgage instead of the member's account. How the member wants to use that money, it's totally up to them. We did look into that option. Don't think it wasn't considered at all. It's just there's a lot of administration that needs to be done in the background. We want to make this as simple as possible so that we can continue using it, right? So that we're not creating extra work for us here. Does that help, Stacy, answer your question? I will take it as feedback, and I will also, I know for the Brandon team and the Winnipeg team, we sent out a survey about a month into them using it, and they provided some good feedback, which I shared with Jim as well. So I'll do the same thing for this one. We'll let it roll out over the next couple. I'll probably send out a survey within the next month to give you some chance to using it. Hopefully you get an opportunity to use it. I know that the Brandon and Winnipeg teams haven't had as much opportunities to use it, so I don't know if a month is enough time to get feedback, so we'll maybe do it in a month and then do another one in a month following that. But keep sending feedback. At the moment, this is the way it is.
Hey James, it's Joelle here. I'm just going to add a comment to it. I think what the refunding probably is a good idea, because sometimes we can have like ordering and paying the appraisal till when the mortgage actually goes through. And you don't want that appraisal company sitting there waiting for their money if we're waiting for CLA to key something.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And I mean, I look at it as an incentive for the member taking the mortgage. We wouldn't have normally done this, so this is an incentive that you get once your mortgage is funded. Thank you for doing your business with us. Here's a credit into your account once the mortgage is funded. So kind of have to play with the words and word it the right way for the member so that it, I personally think it's an incentive to the member. It's not something we're doing at the moment, right? Any other feedback? I know there's some people from adjudication on the line as well, and there's also CLA. Do you have any questions, concerns, feedback? Doesn't sound like it. So yeah, I think we'll exit the webinar right away here. If you do have any questions, I encourage you to share them with your branch team leader. I'm sure you're gonna get a chance to kind of play with it. It will be uploaded. Everything will be uploaded to the intranet by the end of the day. If it's not there already, I checked this morning and the calculator wasn't there yet, but I know the procedure is there. So by the end of today, hopefully we can have it all set up for you. One thing that I do want to point out, when you initially open the calculator, it doesn't have any numbers in there, and you might get a weird error message that shows up. Just okay through it, or yes, whatever it is, and then once you enter the information, it'll all calculate correctly. It does give an error message. That's just because of the background calculations that are happening. So there's an actual mortgage calculator built in the background that calculates the interest rates and the payments. So yeah, you'll notice something pop up. Just okay through it, and then it should be fine and ready to use. Okay, well, I hope this tool can be useful to you and your teams in the branches, and I hope that we can have some successes. I encourage you to share those successes. If you have a great story that you want to share, send it into the roundup. We want to hear feedback. We want to know if it's being used or not being used as well. So share feedback, please. It's all appreciated. And thank you all for your time. I understand that it's probably a busy time of year for all of you with financial fitness and everything, so I appreciate you taking 36 minutes out of your day. Have a great day.
Thanks, Steve. You too.
Thank you. Done.